Hello. Today we will do a quick practice with context clues. The selection we will be using is The Aristocrats by C. Sophus. During the storm, Evan took all the oxygen tanks below deck and tied them together. He wished he had completed the task earlier, as his skipper had asked, but now they were all in the thick of it. The lightning crawled across the sky like roadways on an atlas. The thunder was shaking loose what courage the crew had managed to muster after the skipper's big speech. Now Evan could see it in the faces of each of his shipmates. They were floundering in the middle of the Atlantic with no direction, like a leaf on the wind. They couldn't even follow the North Star, a natural compass. The black clouds above them billowed like lungs taking in air. As they bulged, they blotted out everything but lightning. The ship dipped back and forth, bow first into the tide like a needle on a sewing machine. The spray from the storm and the push of the tide doused everyone on the ship's deck right down to their socks. Then off the starboard side, Evan saw the whisper of a light nearly obscured by the confusion of dark clouds merging with the black of the sea. As the sky shifted with the storm, the light began to open itself up to the crew of the Emak Pule. Suddenly, the separation of the sea and the sky became apparent. The skipper howled like a madman. "Steady as she goes, boys." Now, as we were reading this, you saw that there were some words in bold print. Those are the words that we're going to be trying to define using context clues. When you're attempting to define a word using context clues, you look at the information that's given around the word. Okay, let's look at the first one. He wished that he had completed the task earlier. Okay, so in that, what do you think completed meant? Okay, take some time, think about it, pause if necessary. In this sentence, completed meant that he wished he had done the task earlier. Okay, you can look at the sentence that contains completed and the sentence before. And what was the task? The task was to tie the oxygen tanks together below deck. Okay, let's try the next one. Muster. The thunder was shaking loose what courage the crew had managed to muster after the skipper's big speech. Okay, take a few moments. Consider what muster means, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, in this, the word muster means that they came up with. Okay, and you can substitute words to see if they make sense. The thunder was shaking loose what courage the crew had managed to come up with after the skipper's big speech. So muster means to come up with. Okay, next is floundering. They were floundering in the middle of the Atlantic with no direction. Take a few moments and consider what floundering means. Okay, in this, floundering means that they were all over the place. They were thrown here and there across the middle of the Atlantic. There was no direction. It was just random movement. Okay, the next one is billowed. The black clouds above them billowed like lungs taking in air. Take a few moments, consider what billowed means. Pause the video if necessary. In this sentence, like lungs taking in air is a major clue as to what billow means. Billow means to get bigger, just as those lungs would do when they're taking in air. Next, we have two words in the sentence we're going to define. As they bulged, they blotted out everything but lightning. Okay, as they bulged. We're still talking about the clouds. We just said that they were billowing, so they were getting larger. So what do you think bulge would mean? Okay, bulge would also mean to get bigger. Okay, it's bulging, it's getting larger. Okay, we also have blotted, and they blotted out everything but lightning. So we already know the clouds are large. Okay, and now they're gonna blot, and a key word is out. Okay, so blotted is what was thrown out of the clouds. Okay, the process of something being thrown out of the clouds, that's blotted. Okay, next we have doused. The spray from the storm and the push of the tide doused everyone on the ship's deck right down to their socks. Okay, so the spray from the storm and the push of the tide doused everyone down to their socks. So what did that water do? It doused them. It made them extremely wet. Okay. Then we have another one. Then off the starboard side, even saw the whisper of a light nearly obscured by the confusion of dark clouds merging with the black of the sea. So we have obscured and we have merging. Okay. So Evan saw a whisper of light nearly obscured, so it came through. Okay, it became apparent, it became visible, but it did so with the confusion of dark clouds merging with the black of the sea. So you got clouds and they're merging with the black of the sea. So what are they doing? They're coming together. They're coming together. As the sky shifted with the storm, the light began to open itself up to the crew of the Imokpule. Okay, so what shifting? It shifted with the storm. Okay, think about that. See what you can come up with. Pause the video if needed. Okay, the sky was moving. Okay, the sky was moving. Suddenly, the separation of the sea and the sky became apparent. Pause if needed so that you can figure out what apparent means using your context clues. Okay, suddenly the separation of the sky and the sea became visible. Okay. Okay, the skipper howled like a madman. Steady as she goes, boys. What did the skipper do? Yes, we know the skipper howled, but what does howl mean? Did he whisper? Did he yell? When all of that had just taken place, what do you think howled mean? Okay, pause the video if needed. But howl means to say something extremely loud, sometimes in a high pitch. Okay? Now, those are just some examples of ways that you can utilize context clues in a selection to come up with a definition of unfamiliar words. If you have any more questions, please feel free to speak with your teacher. I hope this was helpful. Thank you. Bye.